What was supposed to be a night of pure adrenaline and celebration turned into a blood-soaked crime scene that would haunt Melbourne for years. A sold-out crowd, a high-profile boxing event, and a brewing gang war. The perfect storm for a tragedy that no one saw coming. But was this an isolated act of violence, or just another chapter in an ongoing underworld war? March 1st, 2019. The Pavilion in Melbourne is packed with over 700 fight fans. It's a night to celebrate Australia's best boxing talent, but among the crowd are some of Melbourne's most feared underworld figures. Rival gang members sit just tables apart, exchanging glares and whispers. Unbeknownst to most, the real fight won't happen inside the ring. It'll take place just outside the venue. The El Nasha family is no ordinary household. With ties to drug trafficking, firearm offenses, and brutal assaults, they are one of the most feared crime syndicates in the region. At the center of the chaos are brothers Abdullah and Ali El Nasha. Their reputation is built on violence, and they have many enemies. But things had taken a turn for the worse. Their family business had been attacked, their home riddled with bullets. The message was clear: someone wanted them gone. And on fight night, they were ready to strike back. The El Nasha family wasn't just another name in Melbourne's criminal underbelly. They were feared. Known for drug trafficking, violent assaults, and gun running, their influence spread across the city. At the center of the looming chaos were brothers Abdullah and Ali El Nasha, two men with a long history of criminal violence. Their empire was under siege. Rival gangs were closing in, and the brothers knew they had to act fast. The events of that fateful night would determine whether they would emerge unscathed or fall victim to a cycle of vengeance. The weeks leading up to the fight night were filled with bloodshed and warnings. Gunmen stormed their business in a failed hit. Arson attacks targeted their assets, and even their home was riddled with bullets in an attempted drive-by. By the time Abdullah El Nasha walked into the pavilion that evening, he wasn't just another spectator, he was a man on high alert, ready for the worst. Inside the pavilion, the tension boiled over. Heated words and hostile stares turned into direct confrontations. At table 64 sat Benjamin Togay, a young father attending his first ever boxing event. At table 28, Abdullah El Nasha and his crew. Insults were exchanged, tempers flared, and the air crackled with unspoken threats. Then came the moment that changed everything. Abdullah stepped out of the venue momentarily, sent a text message, and returned clutching a small black satchel. The message he sent? A chilling instruction. Bring my little friend. Minutes later, the chaos erupted. At 10 p.m., as the main event was about to begin, the fighters inside the ring weren't the only ones preparing for action. Security had finally had enough. The two rival groups were ordered to leave. But outside the pavilion, things took a deadly turn. From the shadows, Abdullah emerged, crouching between parked cars. Then, the unmistakable sound of gunfire shattered the night. 5 shots rang out. Benjamin Togay was hit in the chest. He staggered a few steps before collapsing onto the pavement, bleeding out as the crowd scattered in terror. 2 others were wounded. Screams filled the air as panicked spectators fled for safety. In just 16 seconds, the night transformed from a championship fight to a crime scene. Abdullah and his crew fled the scene in a waiting Mercedes, vanishing into the night. Melbourne police swarmed the area, but the gunmen had already disappeared. The manhunt began immediately. Within hours, investigators identified the primary suspect, Abdullah El Nasha. But tracking him down? That would take more than just standard police work. Days later, a crucial tip-off led authorities to a safe house in Sydney. Armed police stormed the location, catching Abdullah by surprise. In a desperate bid to escape, he leapt from a balcony. But his attempt failed. With a fractured leg and nowhere to run, his time was up. Abdullah was extradited back to Melbourne, where he faced a high-profile trial. The courtroom was packed, supporters on one side, the victim's grieving family on the other. After years of delays, in June 2023, justice was finally served. Abdullah El Nasha was sentenced to 29 years in prison with no chance of parole for 22 years. Some of his associates walked free, while others faced lesser sentences. But was this the end of the war, or just another chapter? For Benjamin Togay's family, no prison sentence could ever replace what they lost. A young daughter left without a father, a family shattered forever, and the Melbourne underworld, it remains a battleground. The thirst for power, revenge, and control never fades. Was this conviction enough to bring peace? Or will another name rise, ready to take Abdullah's place? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you want more deep dives into Australia's criminal underworld, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Stay safe. Stay informed. This is Update X.